Hello, I am Super Orange Cat, and I am finally getting around to my random anime review of Amagami SS. Amagami SS is based on a game called Amagami, which was a dating simulator in Japan that was pretty popular towards the end of the 2000s. And this game was definitely marketed towards younger girls, so it was not meant for me. So take what I say with a grain of salt because I am coming from an absolutely different direction here. For Amagami, if you're wondering what the fuck that word means, it means light nip, and it's something that's alluded to towards the end of the series as a bit of a reference. It's not really that important. All you need to know is based on a dating simulator, and when you think of it in that light, everything kind of starts to make a lot of sense. Maybe a little bit too much sense. This anime aired from the summer of 2010 to December 30th. And one thing of note, the OP of this, the opening song, the first opening song of it, there are two. Okay, what I would usually do is when I see that it's clearly the opening, I would just fast forward it all the way to the actual episode starting because that's like a minute of my life I'm wasting right there, seeing the same thing day after day after day. And the first line, it was like, I love you with all my heart. And every time I mentally fill it with two different things. One time I fill it with, but you didn't feel the same, which is a line from Make It Real, sung by the Jets, which is a pretty interesting group from the 1980s. And talking about the 80s, I also filled in with the I love you with all my heart. And I immediately filled in with, and the very next day, you gave it away. This year, to save up on tears, I'm gonna give it to someone special, special. Which, if you don't know, is the song Last Christmas by Wham. That was a huge smash hit in the 80s. Now, I'm getting off track, talking about OPs, when I have one bitch of a show to tell you about this week. Now, the main character is a character named Junichi Takibana. The basic characterizations of him is he's a complete milquetoast. He's he puts up a strong face at times, but ultimately he's just kind of a little bitch. And that's something that's very recurrent throughout this entire series. And the most notable thing about him is that he was stood up 2 Christmases ago by some anonymous girl we don't know anything about until towards the very, very end of it. But yeah, he's heartbroken. He couldn't even go to the Founders Festival, more on that, the next year, and he's trying to pick himself up. He has a younger sister named Maya. Basically not much more about her to know other than she's obsessed with meat buns, kind of obsessed with breasts, and also she has two friends, Sei Nakita and Ai Nanasaki. More on those two later. Oh yeah, and he has this weird, not really weird thing, it's actually completely normal, where he likes porn. Like he and his friend Umihara kind of just share porn all the time, and that's a recurrent thing through nearly this entire series. And going further about the whole milk toast part of Junichi, he's a borderline tsundere. He's not going to tell you he loves you until like nearly the end, and usually at like some weird, inopportune time. And that's something that's also very recurrent in the show. Now, one thing I need to tell you about the structure so right off the bat is that there's 24 main episodes of the show, 26 total, but 24 main episodes. And these 24 episodes are divided among 6 different scenarios. And this is divided up into the 6 girls that he pursues in the show. So 4 episodes for each girl, starting from their first encounter all the way to like some big confession or some ending whatsoever. And this is definitely based on the gaming mechanics of the game, where it's you choose to pursue a girl and how a player will basically not really try to spread his time as much as just go into each scenario pursuing this one girl, then go back to the start and then pursue a different girl, like normal gameplay of this type of game, which I thought was pretty interesting and really not a bad idea at all. So let's go into these 6 girls. Who are these 6 girls? Well, these 6 girls are Haruko Morishima, Haru Tanamachi, Sei Nakita, Ai Nanasaki, Rihoko Sakurai, and Ayatsuji Tsukasa. Now, let's go one by one. Let's start with how the show begins. The first girl is Haruka Morishima. The most notable thing about her right off the bat is she's the only third year student. The high school that Junichi goes to 3 year is a 3 year high school, and she's like the one senior. So she's like the senior while he's a second year. She has this thing where she really, really loves dogs. And this is a thing that's very common. And this is throughout the rest of the episodes, even when she's not the main focus. She alludes to everything by talking about dogs in a way. Where one part she gets him to lick the back of her leg to see how quote unquote dogs like it, why dogs like to do that. And also, the first kiss he ever shared with her was based on him after giving her a bunch of books about dogs and her looking at all the pictures of the cute puppies and weather. And all the other stuff happens too. She's very fucked in the head though. Like, even in the 4 episodes where she's the main focus, there's multiple times where she like tries to stalk the female swim team. And there's one scene towards the end of the series, outside these episodes, where she's also just peeping in on girls in swimsuits that Junichi catches her doing. So she's a bit of a lolicon in a way, which is kind of creepy, especially considering that a lot like Benyo from Engaged and Unidentified, who's also a lolicon, she's very popular. She's maybe like the queen bee of the school, and it's very apparent from people's interactions of her. But the one main description to describe why she became Queen Bee wasn't like Benio, where she's like, "Oh, the president of the student council," or "She's such a nice person. She does all these great things." It was like, "Oh yeah, she basically told no to two of the biggest name boys in the school." So it's based on the fact that she's turned boys down, which I found pretty interesting too, with regards to this show. And the main focus of her is she wants to be babied by Junichi, but it looks weird when an older woman is being babied by a younger man. So basically, she calls her friend one night. She's like, "Hey, I kind of want to do this," and she's like, "Oh, you hot child." So then, like, okay, so this starts to happen, and then they start building this romantic relationship to the last episode where they go to this hotel. You might be wondering, what the fuck? They're like 16. Why are they going to a hotel? Let me explain. Let me explain. So like Haruka Morishima has like grandparents that are super rich, and they're like visiting town. Or by the way, this is Christmas Eve, by the way. Because the whole thing with Junichi being set up on Christmas, so it's like Christmas Eve. They go to this hotel. She's like, "Oh yeah, my grandparents are gonna be there, and my parents are gonna be there. You get to meet my family, basically." And he's like, "Okay, cool." She's like, "Okay, but first we need to get cleaned up." Okay, so we're going to the pool in the base, pool in like the lobby, right? So like they have fun time. What ends up being a water park in this hotel. And afterwards, she's like, "Okay, okay, let's go up. Oh yeah, by the way, my like grandparents couldn't make it, and my parents didn't make it, so it's just me us two alone in a hotel room at the penthouse. Totally nothing suggestive." Then they go there, and then she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna take a shower." So she takes a shower. He's sitting there wondering what the fuck to do because he's like, "Should I try to be in the shower with her? Should I take a shower after her? Should I wait for her? Why am I here?" And then she walks out with nothing but a bath towel, sad because he won't fucking peep on her while she's taking a shower. Back to her being a fucked up person, basically. So basically, she kind of cries about it. It's like, "You don't love me anymore." And he's like, "Of course I love you." And then they hug and kiss and make up, and there's fireworks and some shit. And then basically, it ends 10 years later. They're like a happily married couple, and they're like the weird married couple on the block. So that's kind of their aesthetic. So that's Haruka Morishima for you. Let's go to the next girl, Kaoru Tanamachi. Kaoru Tanamachi is already like the best friend of Junichi. It's Junichi, Omahara, Kaoru kind of find this like nice friend threesome. She's kind of like the buddy buddy butchy kind of a tomboy girlfriend, where she's like willing to grab and like punch him just for funsies and stuff. And it's like, so you already have this like connection where, which is unlike the other 5 girls that kind of just never really, like, they might know about Junichi, but they've never like talked to him. So Kaoru already has that connection with him in a way, which I find pretty interesting. And one thing notable about her is that she has a little bit of trauma in her life. It's mentioned that she lives by herself with her mother. Dad's not in the picture. I don't think they ever clarified if it was a divorce or if the dad died or anything. But later on, there's this thing where the mom starts dating another guy, and Kairu's like really emo about it, so she doesn't show up to school, but she like shows up to work because that's how shit ends up, I guess. So like Junichi shows up to her work where she works as a waitress and he's like, "What the fuck? Why aren't you at school? Don't be such an emo girl. Do you know? I know you like rare chocolates and shit that's barely at the convenience store. So here's some fucking chiclets or something. Oh yeah, by the way, I think you're totally cool, but like not in a friend way. I mean in the I kind of love you way. So like this resonates. So Karu and Junichi on Christmas Eve. Note the common theme here. They go to this tower, right? And like basically, this is kind of one of the more boring endings because they just kind of hold hands, and then at the end, I think they kiss, and it just kind of ends with them like riding the bike on the shore in this like weird in between where like in love, but they want to stay friends and not really be love partners as much as just simply, hey, we're friends that kind of fuck each other. So they're basically professional fuck buddies at this point, and that's how this story ends. And I can really go into all these different girls, but I'm like 11 minutes in, so I want to really cut this into smaller pieces. So I'll be back soon for the second part of my review of Amagami SS. Four girls left, including the most fucked up one. And also, I'm going to conclude what I think the themes and the ultimate social significance of this show was. I am Super Orange Cat, and there will be more.